That's so brilliant! This video is sponsored by Case Filters. Predators, thunderstorms, drop-offs. There are multiple dangers we get confronted with in landscape photography. And some of us seem to do so easy to overcome that all. But others have big fears and flows. Honestly, I'm one of these others. I had to learn with the years how to overcome my fears, how to deal with them, and ultimately I found out how I could use my fears even to get better photos. My friends, very nice to see you. I'm totally in love with this image here. I photographed it at my latest trip to the Dolomites, and those who watched the video know already that I fear heights. And that was a big disadvantage for me there, because I had to hike around an hour or so beside a dangerous drop-off of hundreds of meters straight down to death on a small foot rail which was skewed from time to time, and there ran even a little bit of water down from the mountain sometimes, so it got quite slippery. I don't have much of footage from the trail, to be honest. I had all hands to do with staying alive. Now, before you think how brave I am or so, I observed all the other hikers at that spot, and I was by far that one who was most scared. But the thing is, I anyway made it up there, and I got the photo I wanted to get. I even think that my fear helped me there to get a stronger photo. We'll talk about that a bit later, how you can use your fears to get stronger photos. The thing is, I don't only fear heights, I also fear bears, wolves, thunderstorms, snakes, and a lot of other dangerous things out there. Honestly, I think I'm probably the most scared landscape photographer in the world. That's reality, and that's sometimes a bit of a challenge, I have to say, but I'm totally in love with landscape photography, and I'm totally in love with nature itself. And I think this is what keeps me going out again and again and again. Now, basically, when it comes down to dealing with fears, we have two options. We can either try to conquer our fears, or we can try to live with them. And quite interesting is that at least some of our fears seem to go away when we just get confronted with them. I remember my mom when I was a little boy, and I had this phase of fearing against monsters or so when I was dreaming. My mom gave me a top tip back then. She said something like, "Christian, whenever the monster should appear again, shout loud and run towards the monster." And what should I say? The funny thing is that really works. The monster ran away, and I never saw it again. And 25 years later, so when my own children faced that same issue with monsters in their dreams, I gave them exactly that same tip, and it also worked for them. There's really no monster safe in our house. Now, the logical thing would be now that we would try to confront ourselves with all our fears to overcome them. But the thing is, that works just when the fears are not substantial. Have you ever heard that someone got killed by a monster in his dreams or so? Not really, right? So that's a fear that is unsubstantial. But today, I'm not scared about monsters anymore. Big thanks to Mom here. No, I'm scared about bears, wolves, drop-offs, and so on. That's not any fictitious fear or so. These things are really dangerous. People really die because of things like that. Of course, we could discuss about likelihood now, but the fact is that there is a risk of getting eaten by a predator or by falling down a mountain or getting hit by a flash or so. So there are substantial and unsubstantial ones. If your fear is just the monster in the dark or being lonely, maybe whatever, the tip of my mom will help you out. But if you are more afraid of things like wolves, bear, heights, like me, I fear even against thunderstorms when they come too close out in the field. For fears like that, I learned to do something different. So now I want to tell you a secret. When I was a young boy, I was a big fan of Wiki the Viking. I'm not sure how popular that old TV series is all over the world. So just quickly, Wiki was a young Viking boy, the son of the Viking chief, and all the Vikings were brave and strong. But Wiki was afraid of wolves, for instance. Same like me, actually. But the thing is, Wiki was quite clever. Also, when his fear of wolves was big, he always found a way to overcome that in any smart way. And as crazy that might sound, but that's a strategy I really use today. Yeah, I'm afraid of bears and wolves, but I simply take, this bear spray with me here when I'm out for hiking. Maybe you saw it already in one of my outdoor videos. I always have it on my backpack, reachable just for the case. And again, we could discuss about likelihood now. It is very unlikely to meet a bear out there, but it could anyway happen. The bear spray simply helps me up here. It changed my mindset actually. It helps me that I can 100% focus on my photography. Since I use this spray here, I really never thought about getting eaten by a predator anymore. That's really a big difference for me. There exist different bear sprays, by the way. I decided for this one here because it has a reach of up to 10 meters or so, but it's anyway small enough to fit in the front of my backpack, and it is not all too heavy. I will put you a link down in the description just in case you're also afraid of bears. And the hunter told me that it also works for wolves, by the way, so that's the perfect spray for me. I still fear bears, but with this spray it is almost gone, I have to say. I also use a bear bell, by the way, to make more noise when I'm hiking, but I can't recommend it, to be honest, as it doesn't make enough sound for me. So if any one of you has a good tip here for a better bear bell, just leave me a comment below. It would really be interesting. Thank you therefore. So don't try to be the strong Viking. Try more to be Wiki instead. I strongly believe that there's a Wiki inside of every one of us. Now the thing is, there exists a spray against our fears of predators, but what about heights? What about drop-offs? That's a problem I have to deal with all the time, and there doesn't exist a spray against that or so. But what I'm quite impressed about is how top athletes deal with their fears already when they are children. Just think about downhill skiing or downhill mountain biking, for instance. When a child athlete fears riding down a mountain, the trainer asks the child two questions. And number one is, why do you fear actually? Or what are you afraid of? Now it could be that the child says something like, I could fall down or so, and I could break my leg or whatever. And the second thing the trainer asks after that is, what could you do to solve that problem so that you will not fall? And then the athlete starts to think about the real problem. Maybe he has to get just better in balance so that he will not fall anymore. Maybe he needs to do more strength training to soften the clash after a jump or so. The strategy is simply to mitigate the problem, to decrease the impact. And the thing is, that's a method that really works in all situations when having substantial fears. I'm an expert in fears. I know them all by myself, and that already for years actually. Now, for my fear of heights, this means that I know that there is a chance that I could fall down a mountain maybe, but this just reminds me to be more careful. So I walk slowly, I don't have any rush, and I think twice where I want to step and where not. I still fear, but less, as I reduced the risk. And this strategy works really for all substantial fears out there. I'm an expert here. Thunderstorms out in the field can get really dangerous, for instance. So what I do is I check the weather maps to avoid getting into one. Or I look for any possibilities to protect myself out on location. When I was to the Dolomites last time, I was photographing at that amazing lake whilst flashes around me were coming down. And what I did is, already before the lightning arrived, I looked for a height, and that allowed me to get a reasonable photo, although I got confronted with one of my biggest fears. And I also engaged with what I have to do when I come into a thunderstorm without height. I made a video, by the way, where I demonstrated that, and I didn't do that of my own will, to be honest. I will link it up here to you. Yeah, it was a disaster, but it worked. It really worked for me. I have also snake protectors, by the way, but I use them only when I have to walk through high grass on hot summer days, which I always try to avoid. So all in all, we can say being prepared and being more careful helps me massively to bring my fears down and to focus 100% on my photography. But we can go even one step further here. We can use our fears to get better photos. And before I will tell you that, my friends, if you like this video, please give me a thumb up. It really, really helps me. So for unsubstantial fears, you can use the dip of my mom, and for substantial ones, just prepare yourself to mitigate them. Yeah, like Wiki the Viking did actually. But there's more. What I found out is that your fears can even help me to get better photos. That might sound like a contradiction because we should feel comfortable to get creative, right? We should not feel uncomfortable here. We want to focus 100% on our composition. Now, what I found out is that whenever I plan a photo tour at a dangerous spot, I tend to put even more effort into my planning than I would usually do because I don't want to fail. I want to nail the image. It is already some years ago I made a little collaboration with my YouTube friend Adrian from Australia. I picked out a photo spot for him to photograph in Australia, and he picked out a photo spot for me to photograph here in Austria. And it might sound funny, but I had a bit that fear of, hopefully my video will be good enough, hopefully my photos would be good enough, because it is one thing when I fail just for myself, but it is something different when it could also hurt someone else. Again, it was a collaboration. So what I did back then is I engaged even deeper with the spot I had to hike to. I engaged more in detail with the weather, and I really got the perfect shot in the end. Or let's say I got a photo that was better than most of those I took before. And quite interesting is, it seemed that also Adrian's photo, which he took during our collaboration, was better than those he took before. So did he also fear to fail like me maybe? Did he also put more effort in just to compensate for that? And did that lead also for him to one of his best photos ever? I asked him, and this is what he said.
Well, hi Christian, and yes, I do remember our collab, and I had specific fears when it came to doing that video with you, because I was really concerned that I was going to be letting down not only myself, but I was going to be letting you down. So I took extra precautions in making sure that I got that shot. I won't go too much into detail what I did, but yes, I did have my fears, and I did go that extra length to make sure I got a shot. As it is, I ended up getting a pretty okay shot for our collab. Someone once said to me, everything you ever want is on the other side of fear. And I'm sure your Vicky the Viking will agree with me. Fortune favors the brave.
The fear of failing, also when it's just a little one, can really help us to get better photos. I will link you Adrian's video up here, by the way, where you can see how he took his photo. It's really worth watching. My video is linked in the end of his video up there, and by the way. And the thing is, that does not only work with the fear of failing, it works with every kind of substantial fear. Let's take the image I showed you at the very beginning of this video. I knew already in front that the hike would be dangerous. So what I did is I put even more effort into my planning. I waited for 4 weeks to get the right weather before I went there. I mean, that might sound totally crazy, but I simply didn't want to go home with an average shot. I wanted to return home with a portfolio shot. Maybe that it is worth bringing myself into danger or something like that. Again, I mitigated the danger just by being careful. And when I arrived then up at that lake, when all my fears started to release, I was 100% focused on my photography. And I really can't tell you how amazing it felt when I brought everything together in the end for this one photograph. I will link you the video of the whole trip here, and when you are watching it, always keep in mind I was not the hero there. I was by far the most scared person out in the field. I'm definitely the most scared landscape photography in the world. And friends, I hope you liked this video. If yes, share it with your friends. Don't forget to tune next week. There will come a fantastic video as well. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.